Columns have been a beautiful addition to any piece of architecture for many millennia. These columns are parts of orders of architecture. Although these orders were originally created by the Greeks, the Romans later adopted the style, and today we can still find examples of these orders in our buildings. Columns are very beautiful pieces within orders of architecture. The three orders of architecture are Doric, Ionic, and Corinthian, but they each have their own style to them. I will first detail the Doric order. The Doric column is the most traditional form of column. A Doric column is very smooth and, according to DoricColumn.com, are traditionally the height of 6 to 7 times the diameter of the column. The capital of the column, or the top, is very plain and does not have very much detail. When they are used, they usually surround the entire structure. There are many popular buildings with the Doric order of architecture. The most popular building from the ancient world with this order is the Parthenon in Athens, Greece. Massive, smooth Doric columns surround the outside of the Temple of Athena, and on the inside of the temple, smaller Doric columns surround the room in front of the statue of Athena. A modern example of Doric columns can be seen in the rotunda inside of the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. According to the architect of the Capitol, the rotunda contains 40 Doric columns modeled after the Temple of Poseidon in ancient Greece. Overall, Doric columns are the most traditional column, but they are less detailed than another order of architecture, Ionic. The Ionic order of architecture originated in Ionia during the 600s BCE before being sent to the heart of Greece in 500s BCE, according to smarthistory.org. Ionic columns are much fancier than Doric columns. Although skinnier than Doric columns, Ionic columns had at their capital, or top, a piece that looked like a scroll rolled up. One of the first buildings created with this order of architecture was the Temple of Hera on Samos. There was also a temple on the Acropolis in Athens called the Erechtheion that used Ionic order. A Roman example of this order could be seen in the Temple of Serapis in Alexandria, Egypt. Modern examples of Ionic order can be seen in Washington, D.C. everywhere. According to the architect of the Capitol, both the Supreme Court building and the U.S. Capitol use Ionic columns on their fronts. Ionic order is the middle child of the three orders of architecture. The final order is the Corinthian order. The Corinthian order is both the most recent order of architecture and also the most decorative. At the capital of these columns are very flowery pieces. According to smarthistory.org, the order first originated in Corinth in the 400s BCE. One famous structure from ancient Corinth that used this order was the Temple of Aphrodite. This temple sat on the Acropolis of Corinth and overlooked the city. Romans used the Corinthian order a lot, too. A few examples of Roman use of this order would be the Library of Alexandria in ancient Egypt. The columns were used on the outside of the building as well as the inside of the library. Also, the Romans used Corinthian order on the Pantheon in Rome. Modern examples of Corinthian order can be located in Washington, D.C. According to the architect of the Capitol, Corinthian columns are used all over Capitol Hill. The Library of Congress also uses the Corinthian order on its front. Corinthian columns can be the easiest to spot because of their decor. Overall, the three orders of architecture, Doric, Ionic, and Corinthian, are used in many places of the world. They were created by the Greeks, imitated by the Romans, and adopted by us today. Who knew that columns would be the architecture to survive millennia upon millennia?